In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through creating a complete mix actually. I've got some audio tracks that I've recorded through the UI24 with a band I work with. They do a lot of Prince songs, which always sound great to mix. And basically what I'm doing here is if I go to the patching screen, I've got inputs coming from DAW, except for channel 20. Channel 20 is coming from the local input, which is the mic that I'm speaking into right now, connected directly to the UI. So if I go back out, I've got the channels named down the bottom here. I've got some assigned to VCAs. I've got the drums assigned to VCA 1, the rest of the band to VCA 2, vocals on VCA 4, and some backing tracks to VCA 3. Just makes it really, really easy to actually control the volumes of everything. And I've muted all the channels right now so I can individually bring them up as needed. I've EQ'd them, I've compressed them, I've run through different other ways with adding effects and subgroups, etc. And I'll just go through and show you how it happens and what's going on with the mixer itself while it's doing that. So let me play the track, multi-track. I'm using Reaper actually. So we'll unmute the kick first of all, and I'll just go into the edit section. So as you can see here, I've put a gate on with a bit of depth into it, so it's a little bit smoother coming into the gate. If I bypass that, you can hear all the other information happening behind it right now. I just want to clean it up a bit. EQ wise, again, if I bypass that, it's a bit more muddy. I just want to clean it up, give a bit more bottom end, enhance the click a little bit there, and you can see that happen on the RTA as well. Okay, now as far as a compressor, just a little bit of compression there just to keep it a bit more even. I haven't put any effects on that. Normally what I would do as well is I would add a subgroup to the whole drum section and just put a little bit of compression and EQ on the subgroup, and that gives you a more tight sound as far as that's concerned. So let's keep going. This is the snare top. Okay, we'll go through that. Again, a little bit more compression on the snare. It's a bit harsher. Same with the gate. Bit of depth there. EQ wise, if you look at the RTA, there was a bit of a frequency issue here, and the easiest way to find out what that is really for people who can't listen to a frequency and say, okay, this is exactly 1.2K or something like that. They can actually increase it and try and find out where the snare was ringing a bit more than they wanted to. High pass filter I use a lot. Basically, besides kick and bass, I high pass filter most other channels that don't need the bottom end there, just to clean it up a bit more and give things a bit more space. Same with the top end. There's other things that are happening there, other instruments that are occurring in those frequency that you want to enhance, so you give them space. We've got snare top. Okay, now if I go to my effects masters and I unmute the reverb for the snare, I'll show you how I set that up in a second. Okay, we'll go back to my, oh well, while I'm here, the gains. Can you see the hardware gains are here? Okay, they're all showing up there for the actual channels, and these are gains that are going out to USB from the mixer directly. They're called the hardware gains. If I go into a channel itself, okay, so that's the channel. If I go to gain channel, the gain controls are not here anymore because I'm using USB inputs. There is a gain control on the talkback channel that I'm using right now. As you can hear here, there's gain control there, but then you also have another set of hardware gains, and they control the ADC input that's going out to USB directly. So you can still be recording analog inputs while you're listening to the USB returns, which is very useful for doing insert work in a minute. Hi-hats, and pretty heavy work on the hi-hats as far as EQ is concerned. Very strong high-pass filter there. Okay, and just try and smooth it out a bit more. Toms, a bit more panned. This particular tom had a ton of spill on it. You can hear a lot of other instruments there, so nothing much I can do about that with the spill. I can gate it hard, but I don't really want to gate it hard. And then overheads left and right. Okay, getting the effects there, good. And what I can do now is actually go, let's assign these drums to VCA. So easiest way to go to Subgroups. I've already called the drums, kick, snare. I'm going to assign it, going to turn it off for a simple reason, is because the actual subgroup is still muted. So if I go to my subgroup section and I'll unmute that, that's a bit tighter now. For the reason for that, I've got a little bit more of around 80 Hertz there. I've got a bit more top end, a little bit mid taken out, a bit of compression, and that just tightens up the sound. I mean, if you want to really, you can tighten it as much as you need to. You can hear the gates opening in and out there, which is not going to matter in this situation. Okay, I'll bring the bass in. Okay, guitars. Now, if I wanted to just switch off the drums, we are unmuted. Can you see mute all is on, and we manually, you can see the blue color means we're manually unmuting these, which means I will not be able to mute it via the VCA, but because I'm on subgroups I can do it that way. Okay, on the guitars, we have, what's on the guitar, we have a little bit of compression on the EQ section, enhancing the low mids, getting rid of one of the frequency there. Now, de-esser is very useful for guitars, especially since we have such a big frequency sweep here from 2K. We can get rid of some harshness that you can see there coming up there. It just clears it up a bit. If I bypass, it's just a little bit more smoother as far as that's concerned. Keys, switch on the second guitar. Right now he's not playing in this song. Andy's vocal. Where am I going to do? Right here. Okay, so Andy's vocal. Again, a little bit of de-esser. Not too much EQ. High pass filter certainly. And compression certainly. Backing vocals. We've got the tracks. And my vocal obviously is here. You can turn it off. Now, if I go to my VCA masters, I can obviously so I can just listen to tracks. I can just listen to band, and I can just drums themselves. Now, a nice thing to do here, it'll be then to create a view group, and we'll call it main mix, okay? So in main mix, what we're gonna do, we're gonna put all the things that are most important to us. We're gonna put the drums and the band, tracks and vocals. We're gonna put the main vocals there separately, so we can obviously adjust that separately. And we're gonna put our effect returns there as well for drums, for chorus, delay and reverb. And that will give us complete control of the mix with these basic faders. So if we go back here, and I'll go to my main mix right here, as you can see, Andy vocal, reverbs, chorus, drums, all programmed. I click it there, and that's where we are now here. So I can unmute those.
You know what I said, man? I said, baby, at your age, mama, check out your shoe size. Baby, we can do what's wrong. You don't have to watch the housewives of LA to have that attitude.
Now, obviously, the nice thing about these is if I want to adjust these separately, then I could just hit the spill button, can adjust the drums, all the levels of the drum separately, the EQ separately, and close it back into my view group. And if I want to go to my complete mixer, again, the home button will take us there straight away from that point of view. Let's get a bit more creative here. The reverb for the drums, for example, I want something a bit more thicker on the effect return. So we can edit the effect return, just the effect return. Go to EQ. But just by EQing the reverb separately, that's going to give us a completely different snare sound. I haven't touched the EQ of the snare at all. This is just EQing the actual reverb on the snare to give us a totally different sound as far as that's concerned. Okay, let me go to another track, something a little bit heavier. Let's have a look. Again, this is another Prince track that goes between a heavy track and a light track.
Called She's Always in My Head.
I'm gonna go to my home there. Gonna make sure I'm ready to go. So in this situation, I would want to put the guitar down.
Whenever I feel like giving up, whenever my sunshine is turned to rain, whenever my hopes and dreams are aimed in the wrong direction, she's always there, telling me just how much she cares. She's always, always, always in my head. She's always in my head, my head. Whenever I feel like I'm not too great at all, whenever I am not, even if I hit the wrong note, she's always in my boat. She's always there, telling me just how much she cares. Oh, she's always, always, always in my head. She's always in my head, my head.
Now, completely different track entering into it. You want a bit more space on the
Remember
reverb.
this one? We're taking it back to the 90s now. Yeah.
And I'm gonna lift the chorus up on his voice for this kind of song.
Huh. One more card and it's 22. I'm looking for him again.
Again, we can totally change the actual EQ on this track for the snare.
That's why he never went. That's why he never ever has enough to treat his lady right. He just pushes her away in a huff and says, money don't matter to. Now, if you know this one, sing it. Money don't matter tonight. Yeah. It sure didn't matter yesterday. Just when you think you've got more than yesterday, and it sure don't matter tonight. Hey, look, he's a cool investment, telling him he just can't lose. So he goes out, tries to find a partner, but all he finds are losers. See, all he finds are snakes in every color, every nationality and size.
This is just on a subgroup getting it.
Seems like the only thing he can do is just roll his eyes and say, hey, the money don't matter tonight. Sure didn't matter yesterday. Just when you think you got more than enough.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions? You know where to ask them. Thank you.